I'm Jeff Philbin, and this is Dinner DeeAs, your daily date with ideas for dinner. And today, we have our very own Thanksgiving parade of plates as we bring you turkey porchetta with goat cheese and scallion potato puree and glazed cranberries. This ain't your grandmother's Thanksgiving. Today, I'm giving thanks for a return visit from Chef Eric McHugh. He's the executive chef at Florfina at the Hotel Hyatt in Ybor City. Last time he was with us, he made chorizo meatballs, which, by the way, that's Holden's favorite episode right now. But you've agreed to take on the biggest dinner dilemma of the year. What to make for Thanksgiving? So, where's the 10-pound turkey? I don't see that anywhere. Do I gotta get a wheelbarrow to help you bring it in then?
No, I don't think so. We're gonna keep it a little bit smaller scale, something that you can make ahead of time and be prepped and ready and not have to spend all morning cooking on Thanksgiving morning.
Nice.
So we're gonna just start with a turkey breast that I've taken and pulled off of the bone, just a deboned turkey breast. And we're gonna make a porchetta out of it.
Love it.
So, you know, just like we would with a pig or anything, we're gonna just butterfly this guy out. And what we're gonna do here is just kind of simply try to open it like a book.
Okay.
So that it all lays out nice and flat and even. We want a nice even turkey across the whole thing, and we just take the thick spots and just kind of cut into them a little bit until we have a nice flat turkey.
And you don't want to go too deep with that knife, it looks
Not
like. You
at
just
all.
want to just let it do its job to get a nice even cut, but allowing the knife just to really keep it flat.
Right, we're just kind of actually using the hand to kind of roll it open and use the knife to just kind of separate it out a little bit.
Perfect.
And then just like a porchetta now, we're gonna just barely, maybe a half an inch, score down into this turkey breast.
Now, what's the purpose of scoring it?
This is gonna help it, get the next step that we're going to, the sage pesto, kind of really get down into the turkey. It's gonna help the seasoning soak in without having to brine it for a long time.
So opening up for some more surface area.
Open up for some more surface area for all of that, and then it's gonna help us actually with rolling it, keeping a nice even roll across the whole turkey.
Perfect.
So now we've got this sage pesto, which we made here. It's just simply some toasted fennel seed, red chili flakes, sage, parsley, chive, rosemary, kind of any of your favorite herbs you wanted to, with a little bit of olive oil and garlic. And we're just gonna really rub that in there. Try to make sure we get it down in all the crevices that we just kind of cut. And this is gonna serve, after we let it rest, kind of help serve as our brine, as our marinade, seasoning all in one with all of this. So we're just gonna make sure we get that rubbed in there really well.
Now, how much would this serve? How many people should we be anticipating for Thanksgiving dinner with this dish?
This is a pretty big turkey breast. I wasn't sure if it was a pterodactyl breast when it got it in, but
right.
This is a fairly sizable one. I would say this would feed easily 8 to 10 people. This is a pretty big one by the time
We're having a big time. All right, get the stretchy pants ready, people.
You can get a smaller one and feed a smaller crowd if you
Okay.
need to. And at this point, like, we're just gonna take this turkey and we're just gonna roll it up a little bit.
Okay.
We're just gonna let it, like a jelly roll.
Just a jelly,
You know,
yeah.
just kind of roll it over and get it to this point. And that's where, you don't have to do this next step, but I prefer to. I saved the skin from this turkey breast so that I could lay it out here, and we're gonna wrap this around it. That's gonna give us some extra fat when we're cooking it to help with the moisture of that turkey.
Now, was it hard to take the skin off in this
The
process?
skin comes off pretty easily. You can just, for the most part, run your fingers up through it just gently. You really don't want to tear it or break any holes in it.
If you're getting a little resistance, kind of pull off a little bit so you don't poke?
Right, you don't want to do that. And you can take the tip of a knife and kind of help release it a little bit if you need to.
Okay.
But we're just going to roll that turkey up in the skin and leave that seam side down on the bottom. And then we're going to transfer it over here to this other little setup with some
One of the things I
strings.
appreciate so much right now of what you're doing is the plastic wrap, a controlled environment. Why are you having so much plastic wrap right now?
Well, number one, we want to keep everything as sanitary as possible. We are dealing with poultry, so we want to keep it nice and clean, not get that poultry juice into our beautiful wooden cutting board here.
Totally.
So now, and then we're going to use the strings. I lay them out ahead of time so I don't have to stop what I'm doing and working on.
And have the potential to cross-contaminate any areas that you're working or having to move around to other
Anything
areas of the
else.
kitchen.
Right, so we're just going to tie this up, and we're not going to go too tight with it. We want it to hold the nice round shape, but we don't want it to bulge out when we're cooking it. So we're just going to simply go through and tie these up. And also another part of, I had the plastic wrap down in it. It's going to help us roll this up to tie it really tight to let it rest overnight.
Perfect.
That's how we're going to do this a day ahead of time. You can do it 2 hours ahead of time if you want to, but the easy part is to do this a day ahead and let it chill out and rest, and that's going to get all that seasoning down into the meat and be beautiful for the cooking of the next day.
And what's the purpose of having it rest for that time?
That's going to allow the meat, like I said, to kind of brine and season it and taste really good, but it's also going to help it hold its shape and relax that meat and let it really help us when we cook it and keep that nice shape that we're looking for.
Perfect.
And then the last part of it is we're just going to wrap this up. That's why we have this plastic here. We're just going to wrap it up nice and tight. Use that plastic to help us hold that log shape.
Perfect. Well, you're making the log there. To get Chef Eric's recipe to make this for Turkey Day, grab your phone, not the one on the wall, the one that you're staring at right now. It's on the side of the couch with you. Open the camera app. Point it right there, right here. I'm talking, actually, it's like, it's in the corner, right there, in the corner, right there, right where Eric's at, down there in the corner. That's our quick response QR code. And when you point the camera at it, a link pops up, which you can press to take you right to DeeAs.com. Moderns of technology. And look, it's already done.
Done. We're going into the fridge with it and let it sit.
Awesome. Fantastic. How long is that going to sit in the fridge for?
Like I said, at least 2 hours.
2 hours at a minimum.
You might want to let it sit overnight if you want to prep it the day ahead of time. It'll
Okay.
be a little bit easier for us.
Perfect.
Then we're going to start our cranberry glaze here. We've got a pot on some medium heat.
Okay.
This is not your grandma's cranberry sauce, again, like we're
like
talking
it.
about. So this, we're actually going to build kind of simply like a kabiyaki sauce or eel sauce.
Okay.
So we've got some butter, a little bit of maple syrup, and we're just going to make a nice sugary little soy sauce.
And that's going to bring a nice little bit of the umami out of that.
The umami soy sauce, about a half cup of brown sugar.
Okay.
And then we've got cranberry juice. And then in this bowl, we have a mixture of apple cider vinegar and apple cider.
Okay, 50-50 blend?
No, it's only about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
And a half a cup of apple cider.
Okay, perfect.
So this, simplest part, put it on there. We're going to bring it to a boil, let it simmer for about 20 minutes to really just kind of start cooking the sugars, caramelize, and start the thickening process.
Sounds like a plan. Our turkey porchetta is wrapped, it's resting. The glaze for the cranberries is simmering. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, move over, mashed taters. We're upgrading to goat cheese and scallion potato puree, and you too. We'll show you how ahead on Dinner Diaz. This is the show where ideas for dinner turn into Dinner Diaz, and there's no bigger dinner than Thanksgiving. So we've asked back Eric McHugh. He's the executive chef at Florfina and Ybor's Hotel Hyatt, and it's not your grandmother's Thanksgiving because before the break, we started the glaze for our cranberries, which is still simmering, but just ready to add the cranberries. You just did that.
We're already ready. It's already in there now.
Boom, it's ready. We prepared our turkey porchetta. We removed the skin. We butterflied it. We seasoned it with Chef Eric's sage pesto and wrapped it up nice and tight. If you're making this at home, it needs to stay like that overnight or at least 2 hours.
Couple
at a
hours,
minimum.
let it rest and marinate.
Get all those flavors all in there.
Jumping and jiving.
Boom. What's next then?
Bacon time. Bacon time. But before we get to the bacon time, we've let it rest in the cooler. We pull it out. We let it rest at room temperature for at least an hour or so.
How important is it, and why are you doing that?
Well, we're going to temper up the meat so that it's closer to the temperature we're putting in the oven, and letting it so it cooks more evenly all the way through. If the inside of the turkey is super cold and the outside's not, it's gonna dry out the outside.
That should be almost like a rule of thought for any time a protein
A
is
lot of
going
meats,
to.
your steaks before you put them on the grill, things like that.
Always just let it rest, room temperature, have that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Even cooked. All right.
So
perfect.
we've taken it out of the oven, or taken it out of the fridge. We've unwrapped it. We've rested it. We put it in the oven for about 45 minutes at 325 degrees, and that way we're just going to start that skin rendering, get that turkey skin cooking on the outside.
Now, with that though, do you want that part to rest as well? Because you're pulling it out of a hot oven. I mean, you're not going to put your hands to it and start rolling in the bacon. Should this rest for a little bit too?
You can let this rest for 20 minutes or so till
Okay.
it's cool enough to handle. Again, if you really want to and you're strapped for time, you can do this part ahead of time, a day ahead, and then pull this out and temper it from this stage before you're putting it into the bacon. Us chefs, we have ridiculous hands that don't feel anything.
Sure.
So we'll just pull it right out of the oven, and I'm just going to cut these strings that we tied around on there and pull them off of the turkey.
So now we're done with that.
And this is ready to go right here onto our bacon.
I love it.
So I took a bunch of about 15 sheets of bacon here and laid them out, overlapping by about a third.
So we got 15 strips of bacon right here, right now.
15 strips of bacon. You know that the old add bacon strips. Add
You
bacon
just gotta
strips.
keep
Add
adding the bacon strips.
strips.
Just add the bacon strips. Now, what type of bacon are we working with?
This is applewood smoked bacon right
Okay.
here. You can use whatever you want. I use the thicker slice. This is 9 to 13 count slices.
Nice.
So that means 9 to 13 slices in a pound. So we got over a pound of bacon here going on this turkey.
Come on now.
We're gonna use this plastic wrap. We'll put that upside down on there, and we use this plastic wrap to help us wrap that right around
Beautiful.
the turkey and get it nice and tight. And we're just gonna tuck those extra pieces in underneath of it. And as that bacon cooks on the next stage, it's gonna just shrink wrap itself right to the turkey on the outside.
Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
So now we're gonna take this sans strings in plastic.
Boom.
And we're gonna
I'll
pop it back in that 325 degree oven for another 30 to 45 minutes until a thermometer in it reads 140 degrees.
140 is what we're looking for.
140 is
Okay.
what we're looking for, because there's still more steps to come.
I love it. So if you want to try something totally different this Thanksgiving, Chef Eric's recipes are all on our website, dinnerdeas.com. Get right there from the comfort of your couch by grabbing the phone, scan the QR code, the link pops up, and I'll take you right there. I mean, Thanksgiving is all things turkey, but it's all things potatoes too.
It's all things potatoes.
You know, like that's...
So we're gonna make a little potato puree, which again, we're not talking about Grandma's Thanksgiving. We're gonna refine it a little bit.
All right, all
So
right.
I've got potatoes that I just simply cooked in a little salted water.
Okay.
For about 20 minutes until you can take a knife and put them inside of the potatoes and they go in and comes out cleanly. So I'm draining them off here in a colander. But the next step is one I like to do to help make sure it really absorbs all the cream and butter we're gonna put into
Okay.
this. And that's, I'm gonna take these potatoes and spread them out on a sheet pan.
Interesting. So the sheet pan is now a part of this whole mashed potato process.
Sheet pan is part of this whole process because we're gonna dry the potatoes out just a touch.
Okay.
We're gonna pop them into that oven where our turkey is cooking. And we're just gonna let them sit in there and dry for about 5 minutes.
Okay. So just take a little bit of that moisture out because it's going to absorb all of the flavor that's happening with.
Just like when you're making bread pudding, you wanna stale your croutons.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the same thing with your
Perfect.
potatoes. Dry them out.
Love it.
We've got a pot here and we're just gonna simply take our heavy cream and about 2/3 of a cup of heavy cream and our goat cheese. It's about 4 ounces.
Okay.
And we're just gonna put that on a low heat here.
Okay.
And let that slowly kind of simmer and melt that cheese right into our cream mixture.
I love that.
Now,
Love it.
the next step is obviously our potatoes. We're gonna do, once they've been in there for about 5 minutes,
Okay.
we're gonna take them and we're gonna now make the potato puree part. But we want it nice and smooth, so I'm gonna use this giant food mill
Yeah,
here.
that is a giant food mill. I'm not going to lie to you, my friend. That is absolutely giant.
This is a food mill used to making hundreds of pounds of potato puree.
Yes.
Obviously, we're only making about 2 pounds of here right now.
Yeah, this is for the family here.
You know, I don't have multiple sizes of food mills sitting around, but you could use anything like a ricer.
Okay.
And another trick, if you really don't have a ricer or a food mill, and you don't want to, you could simply make them like whipped potatoes
Yep.
without this step, and then pass it through a chinois or
Yep.
a tammy or some kind of strainer to make it a little smoother. But this is the step that we really want here, where we're gonna mill these potatoes,
look
and you
at
can
that.
see them coming out, and any kind of skins that happen to be in there or anything is gonna get caught. And this is gonna just really kind of smash them nice and fine.
Now, this is how you were going to be making this at home. This is like literally how you're doing this?
Absolutely.
Now this is the job now to get like the rest of the family involved, because that's one of the things about like Thanksgiving. It's like there's some that do some of the work, some that don't do any of the work. Is this the job where it's just like, all right, hey, you know, that one aunt is like, all right, you're on that detail. Is this that moment?
Or this is a fun job for the kids to try and stand there and turn the food mill. You know, it's kind of a challenge to get them through there.
Hold it. If you're watching right now, buddy, this is going to be your detail, okay? Eating for the whole family, making for the family.
Mill the potatoes.
Okay.
Or squeezing the rice, or whichever you have.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay, so already perfect. That is absolutely fantastic. So we're going to take a quick little break because Not Your Grandma's Thanksgiving is not done yet, but we're nearly there. So it's time to get the comfy pants back on because our turkey's in the oven. More importantly, with the bacon. When we come back from the break, we'll finish up the potato puree and serve up today's dinner dia. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. If you need ideas for dinner, you're in the right place. Eric McHugh is with us today. He's the executive chef from Florfina inside Ebor's Hotel Hyatt. And thanks to him, it's not your grandma's Thanksgiving. We sent the paramedics home since there's no deep fried turkey. Instead, we've been making a turkey porchetta. We learned how to properly prepare, then roast, wrap it in bacon, and we made a beautiful, it smells absolutely fantastic, glazed cranberries. And before the break, we milled our potato puree. What's next going on with the potatoes?
Well, the next step is kind of the most important step is butter. Because butter makes everything better,
Butter
right?
makes everything better.
So now we've got our milled potatoes, and we're gonna put them back on a medium-ish heat on that stovetop in the pot we cooked the potatoes in.
Okay.
And we're just taking room temperature butter, 1 or 2 cubes at a time, small cubes, and just kind of whipping that into these potatoes. Just using a spatula and kind of whisking it and letting that butter melt into those potatoes and really kind of emulsify in that. That way we get nice, super buttery, rich potatoes without having that fat layer kind of leach out or separate on us.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And then we also still had all of that heavy cream and our goat cheese that just melted away, brought some heat behind it as well. So you're going to have heat from what's happening over here with still bringing the potatoes, melting it, still bringing a level of heat over here with the flavors of our cheese.
That's the thing, we
cream.
want to keep those potatoes hot. Once we get them hot, we want to keep them hot so that we don't get gummy, starchy potatoes.
That's the worst. No one wants that for Thanksgiving. Okay? Just seriously, don't do it.
So once we got all this lovely butter in here and we got nice buttery potatoes, now we're going to take this cream and cheese mixture and pour that in there and just fold that in. And we're just going to lightly fold it in. Now, it's a lot of butter and it's a lot of cream because we're not making the standard mashed potatoes. We're making the potato puree.
Yeah.
We want this to be nice and smooth. Not quite like a sauce, but more sauce-like than mashed potatoes.
Sauce-like. Okay.
You know, so they're going to be a little moist. You'll see them kind of melt away in that pan, and that's what we want out of them. A nice, smooth, cheesy potato puree.
I absolutely love it. To make this for your Thanksgiving or any day of the year, get Chef Eric's recipe at dinnerdeas.com. Scan the QR code to get there, and if you do make it, take a picture. Send it on social media. We'd love to see how it turns out. Yeah, that's the taste test time on that one here,
This is taste test time.
Let's see what's going on here.
See how our salt is? Yep. We salted the water that we boiled the potatoes in.
So that absorbs some of that flavor.
So we really shouldn't need to add much salt. If you do at this point, this is where you add them, but Chef, what do you
Subject
think?
to taste, I thought it was very good. Now, I'm a big fan. Like, my secret ingredient when it comes to mashed potatoes, though, it's Jane's Crazy Salt. Like, that's my go-to for it there. But I'm not putting that into this one because I want to have fun with that goat cheese. Like, that's what I want to taste. And that's going to bring another layer of saltiness.
Sharp goat cheese and everything.
Dude, that's awesome.
So we've got our cranberries glazed. We got our potatoes pureed.
That's 2.
It's time to pull some bacon wrapped turkey
Trifecta right
out.
here. Trifecta, okay? We're going for a 3-peat over here.
We've got our
The
bacon wrapped
Dude,
turkey
look at this. Look
crisped
at this.
up in that oven.
This smells fantastic. If you're having this for the guests, I mean, this is like a showstopper right now, man.
This is gonna set you in the history books of your Thanksgivings
Okay.
amongst your friends.
Okay, this is a gold medal right now, and it absolutely looks like it. So
Yeah, wait, so we roasted that for until it was 140. We talked about how
Yep.
we wanted to get it because we want to crank that oven to 400 for about the last 5 to 10 minutes so we
Perfect.
get that bacon super crispy and
Very
we'll
nice.
finish that carryover cooking for us.
fantastic. All right,
All right, so
plate time.
now we're gonna cut something open and start plating this bad boy.
Let's see
so
this.
we can see what this looks like here.
Let's see this. And you know what? I'm going to have the Chef Jeff Cam with me here because I want everyone at home to live in this beautiful Thanksgiving joy because there is so much to be grateful on this one here. Look at that. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful.
There's your cross section of the beautifully cooked turkey. You can see that sage pesto marbling in on the inside. Again, why we kind of did that scoring of the turkey so it really gets in there and you can see that beautiful pesto inside of it. Flavors everywhere.
Flavor is everywhere, and when we come back, it's Thanksgiving dinner time, but without the family arguments or the crazy drunk uncles, well, except for us, too. We're going to taste test Not Your Grandma's Thanksgiving ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs, delicious ideas for how to get the family around the table. Today, we're taking on the big one, Thanksgiving dinner. But it's not your grandmother's Thanksgiving, at least according to Eric McHugh from Florfina, the restaurant Ebor's Hotel Hyatt. He's been sharing how to make turkey porchetta with a sage pesto and glazed cranberries, plus a silky smooth side of goat cheese potato puree. Man, this is the favorite time of it all. It's taste test time to make sure that this is going to be worthy of being a dinner dia. I mean, this
Let's get after it.
Dude, this is everything. Look at this. I'm going to go a little bit of the turkey here because I've been staring at this piece right there because I want to get some of that pesto right there.
Pesto, get some of the bacon.
And now I'm going for the bacon piece to it.
You know how to do it.
This is not my first rodeo, but it certainly is an exploration of new flavors, which is kind of fun because, you know, Thanksgiving is so traditional. Whoa.
It tastes like tradition, but not your grandma's tradition.
Exactly. It's evolved. It's evolved into just such a joy, you know, and you think about it, there's still great portions. You're still gonna have leftovers from it. You're still gonna have a dish that is worthy of being a true dinner dish. I mean, this is out of this world fantastic. Let's get the potatoes now. Wow. Fantastic.
Thank you very
Thanks to
much.
Chef Eric McHugh. If you just want him to make Thanksgiving for you, there's a special menu over at Florfina. Find out more at our website, dinnerdias.com, where you can also find his recipes for everything he's made today. And if you make any of it, let us know how it turned out. I'm Jeff Philbin, and I'm thankful that you spent the time with us and you allow us every day to be with you. This is a joy, and I'm so grateful for our team, and I'm so grateful for you. We'll see you next time with more Dinner Dias.
Anytime you're hungry for a great dinner idea, just go to dinnerdias.com. That's dinner, DEEAS.com. You'll find the complete recipe featured on today's show, plus a whole list of other dinner ideas.